This is officially the worst podcast episode we've done. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 7 of The Unusual Suspects. I'm slightly dying and I'm slightly ill, but also my name is Dan. And joining me is Andy. Hello Andy.
Hello Dan.
And also joining me is Penny. Hello Penny.
Hi.
Alright, Jesus Christ.
High energy this week. Lots of energy.
I blame you both. Well, I mostly blame Dan.
We're kind of happy and we're also kind of sad and ill and
defeated.
All sorts. Because actually this week, I know we say we record our stuff in advance, but we actually, this is how long in advance it was, by the way, we actually released the podcast a few days ago. Yay! So that's how far in advance we are with these recordings. We kind of took a little bit of a break between 6 and 7 this one, so that would kind of get a bit closer. But thank you everyone who sent messages and comments and things you liked about the podcast, things you thought would be better if we changed and stuff, and we'll take them all into consideration 7 episodes later. So if you tell us something now, 7 episodes later, we may consider it.
We released 1 and 2 at the same time, and now 3 came out today, so we're only 4 ahead?
4 ahead.
Yeah, so about a month in advance.
So in 4 episodes' time, we'll have considered it.
And we also may have noticed that we've changed the sound. Hopefully it's fine. I don't know. We've tried to make it a little bit better. The soundboard will come back hopefully next week. We'll have all sorts of fun with that. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say on that front. Before we go into anything though, I do want to say a little PSA, not naming any names.
Andy's face.
Here we go.
Sometimes we talk about films.
It's not often.
And not often, but sometimes we talk about films and sometimes we can be, I don't know, a bit critical at some of the things that go on in said films. You know, no film is perfect and, you know, it's not everyone's taste and sometimes people won't like it and some people will. But look, we don't mean any wrongdoing against it. I'm not going to name any names. People may be aware of who I'm talking about. I'm not going to name any names. And if you are listening, and if anyone's listening we've discussed your film in previous episodes and you feel like we've been a bit too harsh and, you know, sarcastic about it, we don't mean any wrongdoing. We just are discussing it in our weird, unusual way that we do on this podcast and breaking it down for comedic purposes, because this technically is a, you know, comedic podcast, I guess. I guess we're funny, guys. Are we funny?
The reviews have said no.
So far.
I would just like to point out, even though I did a lot of apologies in episode 3, I stand by everything I've ever said.
The views of Penny do not represent the views of The Unusual Suspects. I would like to backtrack and say that
I'm an acquired taste. Did we mention that in the 2nd episode?
I don't know if that gives you free range to be a bellend though.
I wasn't a bellend.
I'm just saying.
I know at least one person that watched that movie since things were said.
we're not going to talk about the movie.
No, we're not going to talk about the movie because I don't want to give it any more. No.
We're going to give it away in a minute. But yeah, if you're listening and you know what I'm talking about, then I'm sorry if you offended you. We don't mean to. We're here to crack some jokes and have a few laughs. That's all. And not everything is going to be to everyone's taste. You know that. You know, come on. No one's perfect. We're not perfect. We're not going to make the perfect podcast. We don't think we're great, even though we really do think we're great. But we don't think we're great. No.
I don't know. This could be the one. This could be the perfect one.
Having said that, yeah, this could be the perfect podcast coming up. Oh, God.
You are far more optimistic than I am.
I'm sick. I'm trying my best here, mate. So that's all I wanted to say. You guys have anything you want to say on that?
If someone has made something and we have sort of poo-pooed on it slightly, they are doing what we essentially want to do and releasing films and writing and making films. The reason we do this is because we can't do it.
Yeah.
We don't have the capacity to it. So instead, we take out that angsty aggression on everyone else.
Yeah, not everyone's got Neil Breen money. to drop on films.
We're the villains in this situation, so we'll happily accept that.
Yeah.
There you go. We are the Thanos in this situation. Hey, I made an MCU reference. That's going to be the first time ever.
Jesus. Hooray!
So later on in this podcast, we will be discussing the highly anticipated, and I'm just going to say before we get to anything else, I'm so sorry. I know it was a joke last time when this came out of the hat. I'm so sorry, guys, that I picked this film. That's all I will say. I'm so sorry.
I'm not going to accept your apology until after we've discussed it.
We will be discussing 50 Shades of Grey later on in the podcast. But does anyone want to start with their first little feature?
I can start, because I'm immediately going to put you both on the spot.
Great.
You're welcome. So, earlier today, I watched a classic from 1995 called Glory Days.
Oh.
Featuring Ben Affleck, Sam Rockwell, Alyssa Milano, Fred Stewart.
Yeah.
It's got McConaughey and Brendan Fraser make some cameos. And it's essentially about these dudes who live in this almost like a frat house, but it's not, because they're not in a frat.
It's kind of Silicon Valley sort of thing.
Yeah, Santa Cruz. So essentially they're leaving college, they're all a bit weird about it, and the crux of it is that it's supposed, or it feels like it's supposed to create some existential dread for whoever watches it. The final thing that you see is the words "angst for the memories" written on a window, and at that point I laughed.
Just at that point.
Pretty much the first time, yeah.
5 stars.
So this is the opening line, right?
Right.
The opening line is from Ben Affleck, and it says, "Ever wonder what happened to all the overeducated, pampered, rich kids the colleges churn out year after year? So did I." And I kind of thought, that's not what I want to think about immediately into a film. And also, if that's the opening line, it's going to be fucking dense the rest of the way through.
Yeah, I'm assuming they went off and got good jobs and loads of money and buy helicopters or something.
Yeah, you never find out.
Good. I don't want to know that shit.
But it got me thinking, right? Which films give you the biggest sense of existential dread?
I mean, we're going to talk about one soon.
Existential dread.
Yeah, it'll make you feel like angsty and stuff. Because and this will be a very slight spoiler for the end of Clerks 2, there's a scene at the end of that where Randall and Dante are talking, and that specific scene makes me ache with anxiety, and I can't work out why.
Why?
I don't know.
Is that not the donkey fucking scene?
Yeah.
It's after the donkey fucking scene.
Because that would give me anxiety too, thinking about fucking a donkey.
No. Weirdly, I was absolutely fine with that. It's when they're talking about, like, they were fucking around at college and did, like, a year of criminology. What were they trying to become? Fucking Batman? That whole, like, monologue from Randall, for some reason, gets to my core quite quickly.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, like, scary films or something, but yeah.
I say you're not going to like the only answer I can think of right now. As we know, horror movies don't scare me, but fuck, if I woke up in a saw trap, none of that shit. I'd be like, nope, not cutting a key out of my eye, not gonna crawl through this barbed wire, end me now, I give up. Like, the thought of waking up with that fucking thing on my head, like, nope.
Yeah, see, I don't think I'd be too worried about that. I would just find the quickest way out, which would probably be ripping my head apart.
Gonna say, like, have you seen Saw? It's not quite that easy. Otherwise they'd all do it.
So the Saw stuff, I was like I would rather die quicker than anything else. But it doesn't give me the same sort of fear that I guess a lack of success does. We're getting down some heavy holes here, aren't we?
God, this is going to be such a depressing podcast.
My sister Jenny hates home invasion movies. The older she's got, and now she owns her own house. She was always, nobody wants to, have their home invaded and things like that. But that's the thing that scares her the most, I think. Being buried alive scares me the most, so that I can't watch films with that in.
Have you seen Buried?
No, because I can't watch films with that in, because I don't like it.
Yeah, it's claustrophobic.
Yep.
People don't watch that film.
That's not quite what Andy means, but I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have one, but I think, like, the most recent one was probably The Vanishing, just because the ending. But I think the one that stuck in my mind a lot, and Andy knows about this, a couple of years ago, I watched an anime. Here we go again. Watched an anime called Paddock. And Paddock is a film about a fish that lives in an aquarium.
Right.
And he lives in a fish market. But it's like, in his eyes, he lives in a fish tank in like a beautiful aquarium. And all the other fish suddenly disappear from the fish tank one day.
No.
And you see everything. And I'm talking everything. And I couldn't eat fish for a month after I watched that film.
Oh, that was like when we were in Japan. We went to a sushi place, which is fine. No problem with that. We were sat at the bar, but that's where they were cooking all the stuff. And I'm not squeamish about things like that and not vegetarian and things. But it was when he reached into a big fish tank full of fish, pulled it out, like slapped it on the table while it was still alive, like mouse to tail, cut it in half again, took the very thin slither in the middle and like put it in an S shape on a toothpick as garnish.
Yep.
And then they did whatever they did with the rest of the fish. And I was like, oh, that was a bit much.
So imagine Finding Nemo.
Oh no.
What you just described, you see all that and they still got their cute faces on, but as they're getting sliced open, their faces are still animated and they're still going,
this is horrible.
Yeah, I watched that film.
It's like a sushi version of Sausage Party.
The worst part of that film, I probably will talk about in detail one day, but the worst part of that film is there's a little tiny baby fish, or there's like a small fish, and it gets taken out by one of these guys.
I don't want to do this podcast anymore.
And it's being served on a plate, but it's been cut into individual pieces, so its eyeballs are in a different place, but it's still moving around, and it's going, help me.
Oh my god,
help
oh my god, I'm actually tearing up. Stop it.
I'm sorry.
That's unnecessary.
I know, but he asked the question. I blame Andy. Don't blame.
I'd also thought of something and now I can't remember it because I'm traumatized by the thought of like a little...
All right, I'll stop talking about it.
It's fine. I can do this. I got through 2 hours of 50 Shades today. I can do this.
Okay. But they all live happily ever after.
No, they don't. Does he die? What happen? Spoilers. What happens to the main fish?
You have to watch it.
No.
You have to watch it.
No.
Might be in the hat.
It might be in the hat.
I'm not watching it if it's in that. I'm not watching it.
No, it's not in the hat. I won't talk about it. I think it is too much. It's one of those films that I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't eat fish for a month after it.
It sounds unnecessary.
So there you go, Andy. That's our...
I thought of one until you started talking about that. Quick stall.
Yeah, don't watch. I think it's from Korea. Paddock. P-A-D-A-K. Paddock.
Does it mean sad fish in Korean?
I don't know.
It means fucking tasty.
Does it actually mean that?
I don't think so.
I might look it up now.
You know what? I don't know if anxiety is the right word, but Almost Famous. I have a strong connection to that movie for obvious music journalisty reasons. I don't know if that gives me an existential crisis, but there's always like, oh, I should have done this sooner, or I always have that thing where I'm like, I think I was like born in the wrong year. Like I should have been like hanging out in Laurel Canyon in the 60s. So yeah, Almost Famous makes me, maybe not existential crisis, but Almost Famous makes me feel kind of weird. And
one more, sorry, I had Stand By Me as well. Because that ending really, I think it's one of the biggest like heartbreak endings where like you've grown up now.
Yeah.
This moment of your life is done. You're never going to have these times again with like being a kid and going out on adventures and stuff. That's over. Kind of thing. So yeah, that too.
And I assume Marley and Me, but I haven't seen it because that sounds horrendous, but that would give me all the anxiety ever.
Well, the end of Toy Story 3 is like that as well. The end of a journey.
Yeah, Toy Story 3, definitely. And 4. And 4.
And
and
then
4.
They fuck it up with Toy Story 4.
We know.
Let's go 4. Let's go.
So shit.
God, I'm so sad. Or like a battle royale thing. I think about that too much. Like, I would be one of the kids that throws themselves into the sea or hangs themselves just to get it over with.
My favourite part of Battle Royale is when there's that couple and they're about to kill each other, and one of them says, I think you're really cool, and the other says, me too, and then they kill each other.
No. Whenever I read the book, which is probably too often, I cry in the same 3 places in that book. Makes me really, really sad.
You guys watch some sick films. Jesus Christ.
Says the fish murderer.
It's fish. It's not humans. Would you rather see a human die or a fish die?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a really good point.
Depends on the fish.
Yeah, if it's like a goldfish or Donald Trump.
Ooh, controversial.
Is it? Is it? I haven't answered it.
Look, I'm not trying to be controversial in this podcast. I've already been too controversial, but
I'm forever creating Twitter beef.
Do we need to apologise to Goldfish?
No, that was episode 3. We did them all. There are no more.
So we don't need to apologise to Goldfish.
I haven't said anything wrong to Goldfish.
You said Goldfish or Trump?
Yeah. Not my fault you picked the wrong answer.
anyway, yeah, that's our films, Andy. Is that all you wanted to know?
Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. I'm happy to move on.
You ever wonder what happens to all the overeducated, pampered rich kids the art colleges churn out year after year? So did I.
Okay, fantastic. Penny, have you got anything to talk about?
You've given me some outrageous anxiety now. Thanks very much.
Podcast 7 will go down in history as the most depressive one we've ever made.
I tell you what, actually, the butterfly effect fucked me up for a few days after we watched it.
This is fucking me up right now.
This is going to be worse. Trust me.
Side note, they did a TV show of Glory Days, and it was really good.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I mean, I would recommend the film. It's not groundbreaking, but if you're a fan of, like, Mallrats or Slacker...
You said it was very bland.
Yeah. I'm trying to avoid using the catchphrase absolutely fine, I'll be honest.
No, we're going to put it on t-shirts.
You know that it's going to be the merchandise seller is absolutely fine. You know that.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you're into the likes of Mallrats and Slackers, you'll probably dig it.
Great.
Same era.
You haven't sold it to me, to be fair. And now,
Yeah.
not only have you not sold it to me, you've just made me sad.
I didn't make you sad. That was Dan. He was talking about fish being cut up and put on a plate. Wasn't me.
And so was she.
I know.
Why? It's weird. It's worse with cartoon fish.
But it's not real.
No, but the fish is going, help me.
Yeah, but fish don't talk, Penny.
In my head, the fish that you were talking about, the little baby one, looks like
Yeah.
a Scrump from Lilo and Stitch, and that breaks my heart.
Okay. I'm just going to have to Google that.
Penny, what would you like to talk about? Let's move on before we start Googling fish for all fucking podcasts.
Scrump is the fish in Lilo and Stitch, and Lilo thinks he is the king of the ocean, so she feeds him a peanut butter sandwich every day.
What?
Yeah, because her parents died in a sea accident. That's a thing.
Why are you laughing? That's horrible.
Jesus Christ, Penny.
They died in the sea, so she feeds Scrump so it doesn't happen again.
So you cry at a fish die, but laugh at parents dying? That's...
No, I laughed because it was like a sea accident. What the fuck is a sea accident? I don't know.
Having looked at Scrump, and also, I think it might actually be called Pudge, by the way.
Oh, it is Pudge. Scrump is her doll. Sorry.
Yeah, that's why when I googled Scrump, all that came up was a doll.
Sorry.
Anyway, having seen a small clip from Paddock and comparing this fish, they do look strikingly similar.
No. Oh, it was true.
Yeah.
I'm not watching it.
That's why you never see the fish in the rest of the Lilo and Stitch films.
Paddock is a sequel.
Served on a platter.
So I watched a really nice film today. And I should have left it for after 50 Shades of Grey to cheer me up, but I know we needed to keep the rage for 50 Shades.
No, you're not getting out that easily.
That rage has turned into sadness.
Yeah. I watched Vamps, which, was that not the thing you sent me the trailer for?
Yeah, that was my recommendation, wasn't it?
Yes, starring Alicia Silverstone and Kristen Ritter.
When did it come out?
2012.
I think I heard it, yes.
Oh, I thought you were just counting how long ago that was.
Yeah, I know it was as well. I couldn't remember the year.
It is a story of two modern-day vampire BFFs. Alicia Silverstone plays Goody, and she was turned into a vampire in 1841, and is just having a nice time. She's lived through electricity, public transport, fashion, films, so she thinks stuff is pretty great. And her best friend is called Stacey, and she teaches Goody all about email, Napster, and Green Day, specifically.
The 3 things you need.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you know how old people can't, they have to learn about Facebook and things, but they can't quite do it. So, you know, she's like 200 years old.
My question specifically is, why would you teach them about Green Day?
Because Green Day are the best.
I think Green Day were good. Stacey was also turned into a vampire in 1992, so she's my kind of girl.
They weren't good in 2012.
All right, look,
No.
this ain't the Punktastic podcast, all right? This is Unusual Suspect. I'm not having you two take it over, all right? Get on with it.
And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was...
Great. It was great. Yeah.
This is what you guys have done to me. So, yeah, it's a fun vampire movie that's kind of... It's a story about... We can just cut all this shit out because it's terrible.
Leave it in. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun.
It's a story of two BFFs that live in New York, but they just happen to be vampires. So it's nothing kind of new.
So do they go out at night and...
Yeah, they go... They don't...
loiter?
I can't do this today. Yeah, they work at
Has
night.
the fish... Hang on, sorry, before we can take... Because we have to settle this now. Has the fish story of Paddock really got you down this much?
I think on top of 50 Shades.
Oh, okay. Right.
I literally finished 50 Shades about 5:45. It is now 7:50.
Do you want to take 5 minutes and me and Dan can just talk bollocks about Green Day?
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Yeah, it's just the story of them and their lives and you laughing but not loud enough.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at you.
This is a disaster.
This is so bad.
I can't help my face just looks smug. So from the trailers of Vamps that I saw, it looked like Clueless with vampires.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
In fact, you asked me to find it for you because you couldn't remember what it was called, and you said, yeah, it's like Clueless with vampires.
Then I was correct. Good job, me.
You were, because that's in the description of the film, yeah. You nailed it. I found it in about half a second after that.
Nice. Good job, past pen.
Thanks.
Okay.
Oh.
But what is slightly different about these two is that they don't drink human blood. Not into it.
Oh.
So, you know, they're modern vampires-ish, and it's just gross.
So what did they drink?
Yeah, Bloody Marys?
Rats.
Rats?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not as fun.
They used to drink pigeons, but then they named some and got attached, so they couldn't kill them. They're like, how could you kill something called Snuggles? So they just stick to rats.
Imagine a pigeon called Snuggles.
Snuggles.
But cleverly, because, you know, they need money and stuff, so they've got jobs, but they work for pest control at night, so all the rats they could possibly want.
Of course they do.
Oh, that's genius. Of course they do, yeah. In their Louis Vuitton bags, I imagine.
There's actually some really nice details in this movie, because I don't want to do too much plot, because I actually would recommend people watch it. Oh, the weird bit. They prefer to be called elves, not elves. Elves, which stands for extended life forms, rather than vampires. They're not keen on the... That's them trying to be modern, I think.
What do they call elves, then?
We didn't get that far.
Pointy-eared pricks.
They know. We apologise.
Yeah, I'm not apologising to the elf community.
Dan's thrown his hands up in disgust.
We are so bad. There won't be an episode 8. I would like to say thank you for listening. It's been a long run.
If it helps, I'm playing a half-elf in D&D, so I'm not racist against elves, just Andy.
They don't exist.
We apologise. The views of Andy do not represent the views of Unusual Suspects. We would like to clarify that. No Twitter beef, please, either.
But yeah, anyway.
No, hang on a second. I need to finish this. Why do I feel like I've been told off for saying elves don't exist and they're calling them pointy-eared pricks?
You have been
Why?
told off for calling them pointy-eared pricks.
They're not real.
You're not real.
Well, I mean, that's also true. But,
There's kids listening to this, Andy.
oh, fuck 'em.
Fuck.
It's not like I said Santa's not real, is it?
I mean, this is a PG podcast, right?
No.
No?
No,
Oh.
not anymore.
First I fucking heard of it.
I tell you what it is. It's a fucking shambles.
It is a fucking shambles, this one especially. I think this is what happens when we watch a film. My fault, obviously, but this is what happens when we watch a terrible film that we have to discuss later on, and the dread is building and building and building. This is my most dread,
Yeah.
is that we have to talk about
Yeah.
films like this.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I could only watch it today, because, like you said before, you couldn't sit with Little Hercules.
Yes.
Like, you didn't want... I can't sit with this.
Yeah.
But we'll get... Vamps is really good, so let's carry on.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some really good details. Goody can't do her own lipstick. She's sitting there and she's doing her lipstick, and it's all over her face. And I was like, what the fuck?
Is that because you can't see in the mirror?
Yeah, she's got no reflection.
Yeah.
So that was smart.
But usually you would see the lipstick, though, wouldn't you? The outline.
But she can't see her own lips or face.
No. She's trying to do it without a mirror, and Stacey's like, oh, you still can't find your own lips without looking. Like, because women that wear lots of lipstick eventually can just do it without a mirror.
Ah, I see. Okay. I did not know that. I learned something new today.
Have you seen The Breakfast Club?
I have, yes.
Molly Ringwald does her lipstick with her boobs.
What?
Oh, all right. Okay. That's why.
Yeah, she puts her lipstick in between her cleavage and she does her lipstick.
That's quite impressive.
Yeah.
Pen, I've got another makeup question for you,
Yeah.
which you might know. You know eyelash curlers?
Yep.
The ones that like you put in your eyeball.
Yep.
Is it possible to do that without opening your mouth? Because I've never seen it done. Every time they're doing it, they're like, and I'm like, wow, why?
I don't think so, because there are times I've put makeup on and gone, why is your fucking mouth open? It's like a involuntary reaction.
Okay, cool.
You could do it without opening your mouth, but it is an involuntary, like, you know how you can't sneeze with your eyes open? You could curl your eyelashes without opening your mouth, but it's a weird involuntary reaction, and you're like...
You can't do it without opening your mouth because your eyes fall out?
Yeah.
Yeah, same as if you sneeze with your eyes open, allegedly.
Welcome to our new segment, Random Makeup Tips with Andy.
Good. Anyway.
I'm staying out of this.
It's just...
This is officially the worst podcast episode we've done.
There's some really good people in this movie. Sigourney Weaver's in this movie. She's their vampire mum, which they call a stem.
Stem.
I've never heard of before. So
Is that like the hierarchy of vampires? There's a stem.
I think only the stems are allowed to turn people. So, you know, you hated it, but in Interview with the Vampire,
Yes.
Brad Pitt turns Kirsten Dunst, which he shouldn't have because she was a girl. Like, only the stems are allowed to turn
Right, okay.
people. And their stem, so their vampire mum happens to be Sigourney Weaver. She's fucking batshit.
Great vampire bat joke.
Yeah. She also has a problem with the lack of reflection. She really likes fashion, but she can't see herself in the mirror. And no, it's not a case of she could put the clothes on and you can see the clothes.
Yeah.
You can't see anything. So when she gets bored, she will use her vampire mind powers to summon Stacy and Goody and then makes them put on her clothes to see what they would look like.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So she's into fashion there, but she can't see herself.
She can't see herself in the mirror, so she gets them to put the clothes on. Because you can't take pictures of them either.
Yeah, but surely that hobby would have been dead and buried when she realised, oh, wait, I can't see myself wearing these clothes.
No, she's like, I'm going to look at them on you and then imagine how much better they'll look on me.
For the rest of my life.
No, because then she can see what they look like, and then when she puts them on, then she knows that they look all right.
Yeah, I know, but she will never, ever... She'll always have to do that every time she buys new clothes.
Yep. They do it, like, a couple of times in the movie.
Okay. Weird hobby for a vampire. Let's all roll with it.
She's got nothing but time.
It's fine. It's fine.
So, where do 20-something vampires hang out? Where do they go?
At
At night, obviously. Fucking hell.
Liquid Lounge.
They go to a goth club.
Close,
Oh,
close.
Right, yeah. For some reason, I was thinking like Alcoholics Anonymous.
We will come back to that.
Yeah, I thought we might.
You ruiner.
All right, Jesus. Cut it out. It's fine. Cut it out.
They go to the goth club with their friend Renfield. So there's some very on-the-nose Dracula jokes.
Yeah.
But my favourite part of that club, does anyone know they're not steampunks, cybergoths? And there's a video of them dancing, and it usually gets put to different music, especially Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They go to the club, and there are lots of cyberpunks doing that dance in the club, which is amazing.
That's Dan's genre as well. He's one of those kids.
Where are you going with this, Andy?
I've got no idea. I'm just filling for time. I'm trying to delay the inevitable.
Yes, I like the video game called Cyberpunk, but I do not dress up as a goth and go dancing to like beat music or whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what the genre of music they listen to is, but either way.
The other best bit about the club is that Goody picks up a drummer and takes him home. Does anyone want to guess what his name was?
Rascal.
Better than that?
Rex.
Better than that?
Shit.
Was it something on the nose like Dracula?
Nope.
Christian Grey.
No, it was fucking Derek.
Yes! This podcast got good.
I managed to accidentally find another film with a Derek in it.
Oh, does he blow up?
No, they go back to hers, or his. Yeah, they go back to his because her coffin's at her house, so that's awkward.
Yeah, that...
Does a line of coke and starts bleeding, and she ends up like licking the blood off his nose because, you know, vampire.
Tasty.
Which leads us to, she goes home and says to Stacey, because they don't drink human blood, she's like, oh my god, it was only a little bit, but it was really bad. So they go to their version of Alcoholics Anonymous, which is called Sanguines Anonymous.
Right.
Sanguine.
Thing is, right, there have been movies on this podcast that have not been good, and I've made them sound better. I'm now aware that this was quite a good film, and I'm making it sound worse.
You're having a day. It's fine.
But I thought Sanguines Anonymous was great. Like all the vampires that don't eat human blood go. Malcolm McDowell's there doing a Russian accent. He's like a really old Russian vampire.
What?
He's a vampire.
He's in all sorts of weird fucking horror films. He was in the remake of Halloween.
There's so many, I'd need to look it up, but there's so many, like, I don't want to say big names, you know, Ben Affleck's not in it or whatever, but there was a bunch of people and you're like, oh, like...
Cameos.
Yeah, and Malcolm McDowell's in loads of stuff, but he was fun. Their tagline, they do like a whole Alcoholics Anonymous thing and they all hold hands and at the end of it they're like, undead is not unfeeling. Because they're like, we don't need to eat people anymore, it's mean.
This reminds me a little bit of, I know it's completely opposite, but just in the comedy sphere, and we've mentioned before What We Do in the Shadows a little bit.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen it, but yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I've been busy watching 50 Shades of Grey.
All right, I'm just saying.
I can't do this.
Whoa, Andy, you're going to have to help me out.
Everyone's feeling a bit tense today, aren't they?
I apologise for me today. Sorry.
It's all right. It's okay. Calm. We're all friends.
Use that soothing voice. You can do it.
I can, yeah.
Some other great details where they were whitening their fangs and moisturising themselves with embalming fluid. I enjoyed that.
That's pretty good. You've got questions then, I can tell.
No, I was thinking, like, did they just dip their fang in the mouthwash and that?
No, she's got those little, like, the strips that you put on your teeth.
What, dentures?
No, you get whitening strips.
Can you?
Yeah.
On your teeth?
Yeah. No, you put whitening strips on your eyeballs.
To make them whiter, yeah.
Oh, to make them whiter.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Sorry.
I just like the thought of them dunking, like, a
I thought
fang into a little McDonald's ketchup pot that's full of fucking mouthwash. Just swilling it around.
That's what I thought. Oh, I've taken a lot of paracetamol today. Anyway, go on.
So, yeah, it's just about their lives. And there's, I think he was Homeland Security, but then I was suspicious about his actual credentials. But his name was Van Helsing. So
copyright.
they know what they're doing in this film. They're like,
Yeah.
Isn't that copyrighted, though?
No.
What? Van Helsing is not copyrighted?
yeah, because that was in Dracula as well.
Yeah.
Isn't it? He's a vampire hunter, not just a movie.
What about the really crap one with
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman?
You know it's based off, like, a book.
Van Helsing was in Dracula, the book.
Yeah, but, like, surely there's, like, a copyright claim of some sort.
It'll be out of sync now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Moving on.
Welcome to Copyright Laws with Dan.
Hey, we will be doing a court episode at some point, so be ready.
Let's just get through this shit. Goody meets her old boyfriend, but has to pretend to be her daughter because obviously she hasn't aged and he has.
Right.
And Stacey hooks up with Van Helsing's son, Joey Van Helsing.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Joey Van Helsing!
Oh, no.
Wait, but the best line in the movie is Stacey tells Goody, because obviously Van Helsing is still a vampire hunter in this.
Yeah.
And Stacey's like, yeah, I met this guy. They go to like night classes and stuff. She's like, oh, I met this guy at school. His name's Joey. Van Helsing.
Van Helsing.
And Goody's like, what, you couldn't get a date with Timmy Hitler?
Oh, that might be the greatest lines in cinema.
Yep.
Jesus.
But yeah, then it's basically about the... because I don't want to spoil the ending, about Stacey's relationship with Joey and Goody's relationship with Danny and what they have to... I can't really say it without spoiling things. But yeah, they're like how those relationships unfold and their friendship and things like that. And it was actually a really nice story. It made me feel very warm and fuzzy. It was a nice story about two best friends. I'm just ruining this film. This film is really good. It was a really nice, feel-good film.
You're not ruining it. People go and watch it. I'll go and watch it immediately afterwards if that'll perk you up a bit.
I'll watch it. It sounds fun.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really nice story. It made me feel really happy. And just the fact that it was just a normal-ish story about two best friends, but it happened to be kitschy and vampire-y was great. So go and watch it. I know I've not sold it to anyone, but yeah. 2 thumbs up that no one can see.
In the 90s, my step turned Stacy. She was kind of lost, and I took care of her. I taught her to get hometown soil for her coffin, how to use hypnotic powers, and how to find the jugular on a rodent. And she taught me about email, Napster, and this great group, Green Day.
Oh, by the way, guys, I'll probably say at the end, but subscribe to us on Instagram to watch video highlights. I'll probably be picking out video highlights from this. I'll be like, Penny raging.
It made me, this film made me really happy, and I had a really nice day, and then it was like the butterfly effect all over again, and it ruined my day.
Yeah, I can tell. You have the same energy that I had when we were talking about the butterfly effect, and the reason that is because I watched that the same day we recorded.
Yep.
Let's not do that. Let's not watch the film and then immediately...
I can't hold on to it. I can't. I can't.
I know, but I mean, me and Andy been holding on to this for what, a week, I think now?
I don't know, 8 weeks?
8
When did
weeks.
lockdown start?
No, he means 50 Shades.
50 Shades, you...
You guys watched it last week. I didn't.
So did I.
Yeah, but I didn't.
No, I know you didn't.
I couldn't keep this for a week.
All right, let's just get it all out. Like we're really aggressive, sexually driven teenagers. Let's just get it all out there and let's just... That's the worst thing I've ever said.
It wasn't great.
Look, it's about sex, so we might as well like make well, kind of about. I mean, it's not really. Anyway, the film. Fuck. Here we go, guys. Whatever happens, and you know we can still be friends after this. But here we go. The film out of the hat this week is 50 Shades of Grey. My choice that I immediately regretted after actually watching it. And I completely hate myself too. So there we go. So there's that. Let's... Oh, fuck. Where do we start?
Wait, I have one question.
Yes, go on.
Dan, did you watch it all in one go? Did you manage it? Or did you have to stop?
I struggled, but yeah, I watched it in one go.
And he tapped out for a break at, 12 minutes?
12 minutes in.
And I made it to 36 minutes before I tapped out. And my mum had to come and ask me if I was all right. Not even kidding.
I don't have a record of how many times, but it was about 5 or 6 times I had to stop and walk away. The first time was 12 minutes. The second time was 16 minutes. And at that point, I had to get myself 3 beers.
Wow. Well, I stopped paying attention after 20 minutes. Well, technically. I still made notes and everything, but yeah.
That's cheating.
No, I still watched it, but my mind was elsewhere.
I have like 5 pages of A4 notes in angry capital letters.
I've got 3,000 words.
Oh my God, yeah, I forgot about this. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I feel like I'll point this bit out first. It got to a certain point within the first 36 minutes where I'd written red flags so many times I decided to count all the red flags. 18 red flags in that film that I noticed that were obvious. I'm not very good with red flags in my own life, but I noticed 18 very obvious red flags, mostly within the first kind of 40 minutes of this film.
Well, let's start with the introduction because basically 50 Shades of Grey is about a 21-year-old Anastasia, or Anna Steele, and she is a English literature major at Washington State University. And this whole film is set up at the very start where her friend, can't remember her name, is ill and she can't do an interview with this guy called Christian Grey. So she decides to send Anastasia, her roommate, to go interview Christian Grey. First point I want to make here is she's not ill.
Yeah, they said she had the flu, and then when she got home...
She's fine. She's absolutely...
She was on her computer. I'm like, if you had the flu... Like, yeah, I thought that.
Wasn't she just eating a pot noodle on the sofa?
She was on her laptop.
No, when she left, yeah, she was just eating on the sofa.
She left. She was eating like macaroni cheese or a pot noodle on the sofa. That was probably ramen.
When she got back on the same day, she was just like, how was it? And I was like...
Yeah, she was fine.
Weren't you dying a minute? Like, what was the... the fuck? So, yeah, she goes to go interview Christian Grey, this billionaire entrepreneur who... still don't know what he does.
No, but he was... my first note is, oh, he fancy. It's called Grey House. He's got this whole big building.
I could immediately tell with his ties put out into different sections. I was just like, I hate you already. I don't like you. But yeah, he's rich for some reason and he owns a company. Still, I don't know why he's rich, but he's just rich. And she goes to visit him at Grey's house, which is a big building, and she goes to interview him. And we'll start with the opening scene. Andy, would you like to take the opening scene?
The opening scene. So that's the interview, right? So
Yep.
She gets out of a lift.
Yep.
To interview him. Immediately falls over.
Yeah, who
Why?
can't? She can't even walk in a door.
Yeah.
Fucking walk.
Yeah.
That's the best bit of this film, is when she fell over and I was like, there was no explanation for it, but either way, yeah.
I thought exactly the same. So she is interviewing him and he's saying weird shit like he's good at people and exercises control of all things. I mean, they're all a bit terrifying.
It's the cheesiest dialogue ever. This film has the worst dialogue I've ever seen or heard.
It's fucking dreadful.
It's awful. It's so bad.
Unmarried, adopted / gay. What the fuck kind of questions are these?
Yeah.
That really annoyed me as well, because she has these questions that she's obviously been given, but she never looks over them once. And she goes, "Are you adopted at age 4? Are you gay?" Like, it's like, why don't you read the questions?
But also, she's asking him these bullshit, bland questions, and then she's like, "Don't you want people to know how big your heart is?" How the fuck is he going to answer that question? What's she trying to do? Fucking psychoanalyze him?
So fucking
My favourite thing was that she forgets her pen at the beginning. Like, she sits down to interview him and he has to give her a pen. But I don't really see her write much down. You'd record it, but...
She had the recorder in front of her, right, as well?
Oh, then why does he give her a pen?
Yeah, she didn't use it.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
The thing is, she sits there and she asks him these really shitty questions. And then his secretary comes in and is like, "Oh, your next meeting soon." He's like, "Cancel it."
Cancel more meetings. Yeah.
And then he tells her about an internship. I'm like, do you know how hard internships are to get? Like, you can't just ask shit questions like, "Are you gay?" and then get...
I mean, in fairness, he does run the company. He can give them out willy-nilly, and it sounds like that's what he does.
That's not the point, though.
There's some, like, the opening scene is so fucking weird. The bit where he pulls the notes out as well, before she leaves the elevator, you know, when she gets in the elevator, he pulls the notes out. How would you not know? He's literally pulling the notes out in front of you and she doesn't notice it. And then he does all the questions anyway to send it to the actual person.
I want to say Kate.
Kate, that's it. And then she stands in the rain for a bit and goes, "Oh, that's a relief." Just
She stands in the rain like like she just drops like a massive exhale, like she has left a big soggy mess somewhere.
I get that he's intense, and I get that she's not that type of girl who's very confident, and obviously
He's also a jerk.
Yeah.
yes, he is.
Like, he finishes her questions. Like, she starts asking, he's like, "Oh, what amounts to my success?" It's a stupid question.
Yeah, it's like he's purposely playing the character of a jerk, like, within the first minutes. And that just seems like it's like, okay, we really need to get the character done in a minute. Let's just do this opening scene and that's it. It's just
That's the problem I had with this film, is that at no point do you know anything about either of the characters other than they will inevitably fuck.
Yeah, within the first scene.
She has no backstory at all. She just walks into an office, is like, "Oh, are you gay? See you later. Here's my notes," and that's it.
Because at one point, skipping ahead slightly, when he meets her dad or her stepdad, he's like, "How long have you guys been together?" He's like, "A few weeks." I'm like, "A few weeks? You didn't know you said a few weeks?"
Yeah.
I also noticed that after she got back to her flat, Kate then nicks her sandwiches, and I just found it interesting that she lets people steal anything from her, including her inhibitions. Hey-o!
Wow,
My
great.
favourite part when she got back to the flat was when she was telling Kate about him, and she's like, "It was very clean."
Yeah, weird.
What does that mean?
Weird.
I think she's trying to not say handsome or...
He's not, though. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just he's not my type, but...
Look, I'm a heterosexual male. He's a good-looking guy. Like, I can say it.
I really like him as a dude. Jamie Dornan is pretty fun. I was chatting about it with some mates earlier, and they all said that he is unbelievably hot. And I was like, what?
No.
Just didn't get it.
And I like jerks. That's my type.
Oh, yeah.
That's a soundbite.
Oh, seriously, Dan, you don't even know about the flags in my life.
Let's not
The world
talk about
doesn't
it
need to
here.
know either.
No, we don't.
Remember where you are. I will say that I don't think these two are bad actors. I just think the way it was written and the way they had to say things was fucking awful in this film.
I assume some of the cheesy lines were from the film.
Oh,
The cheesy lines they're so
The book
bad.
is so terribly... I haven't read it. Unfortunately, my mum has read it, but she said it was really bad, and it's just badly written. So it felt like, to me, the dialogue was written by whoever, and then these cheesy lines were brought in from somewhere else and, like, rammed into the
Rammed in.
Yeah. Rammed into the script.
I wish I had the drums. God.
But you know what I mean? They were like, okay, we have to pick.
Yeah.
We've got some bits from the book that need to go in, like the things that he says he has to say them, and they just didn't.
Yeah.
One, they were really cheesy and awful.
It was innuendo city for long periods of time.
Oh, I don't even think it was innuendos.
No, it wasn't. It was just fucking telegraphed.
Yeah, well, either way.
Like, so she's working at the hardware store and he strolls in
Creepy flag.
to buy rope, tape, cable ties.
You do not buy stuff for BDSM in a fucking hardware shop. You do not.
She's off. She's off.
She is off.
Red flag 1.
She is off. I've written that in capital letters. You do not fucking... Don't use gaffer tape on somebody's skin. Are you insane?
Anyway, the point I was making about it being badly written.
Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
She says, you're the perfect serial killer.
I would have preferred that if that was the rest of the movie.
Well, so would I, in fairness. He asks what else she recommends, and she says coveralls so you don't get your clothes messy. To which his reply, quite obviously, was, all together now, what if I'm not
staying
wearing
my
clothes?
Do you want to repeat that so people could actually hear it?
What if I'm not wearing clothes? I had to, again, this was another pause. I had to get up and walk around because I was fucking furious.
The amount of times I just went during the film, oh, for fuck's sake, out loud. I just, like, so many.
I started making a note of all the lines that just felt like cliches.
Yeah, so many.
They're all written the same. They all end, oof, that's bad.
I'm going to point out that this was one of my main problems with the film, is the dangerous misinformation about BDSM and dominant sub relationships and the kink community, because I assume when it came out a few people wanted to try it, but you don't want some fucking, and I'm gonna say Essex boy because I live there, so no fucking shit for that, but some lad going to a fucking hardware shop and getting rope and tying up his girlfriend. Somebody's gonna do someone an injury, and it is not safe, and I am not okay with this.
I just imagine him getting like a screwdriver and a 26-piece tool set.
Whoa, fucking hell.
I mean, that's more American Psycho than 50 Shades, but I see what you mean.
I know, sorry.
Got the house to myself tonight, popping down B&Q.
But that is the running thing that I have a problem with, so I thought we'd get that in there.
We'll come back to that when we start getting deeper into it. Can I ask also, at what point did you realise the colour palette is just grey the whole way through?
Just now.
Thinking about it, yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? I'm thinking
like 20 minutes in, I was looking at my TV settings going, why is there no fucking change to this? Everything is like, all the white is washed out, the darks aren't that dark, it's just fucking grey the whole way through.
Until you get to the red bits.
Yeah, until the red bit, yeah.
Yeah, but...
Let's move on, because we could stay forever on different things, but let's move on. So he goes to the hardware store and he basically invites her out for coffee. And this scene is where he discovers that she's not a romantic type, so he can't be arsed with her. So he decides... fuck's sake.
She's not a romantic type, you've lost me.
No, so he's asking her, are you a romantic? And she goes, well, I do literature, so I have to be. And then he immediately goes, I have to leave.
Yeah, he kicks her out the coffee shop, doesn't he?
He gets out.
He just gets up and fucks off. I wonder if he paid the bill.
Probably not. He's Mr. Grey. He goes outside, saves her from getting hit by a bike, and then the two of them
they have that moment,
come together in the and they're holding their faces, and I'm like, what? You just fucking... like, I don't understand.
But Dan, the important bit is that she melts in his hands like ice cream in Benidorm.
No, but I'm going to have to close my window. I'm getting really loud.
Yeah, like, as stupid as it is, sometimes ladies like that extra bit of romance. So it's like, they're going to kiss. And he saved her.
I lost my shit.
But not when he's like, I'm not the man for you. I have to let you go. Like, you could hear me rolling my eyes.
I have to let you go.
Like, he's so hot and cold with her. That's a flag.
You just met her. You just brought her in for an interview, and now you're going to a hardware store and then a coffee, and now you're telling her already, I have to let you go. Like, fuck off.
And then, so he dumps her, and then he sends her fancy books. Talk about mixed messages. Fucking hell. It's like a yo-yo.
Yeah. Also, I'm surprised she has a bottom lip the amount of time she's biting it.
Oh, yeah.
I heard that was written in the book quite a lot.
I can imagine. Do you know what the book sounds like?
Shit.
It sounds like that other podcast, My Dad Wrote a Porno.
No, don't you dare say anything bad about Rocky Flintstone. I love that podcast.
Whoa, okay, that's not the reaction I was expecting.
We apologise to...
All I'm saying is, like...
Rocky Flintstone, come on this podcast. Tell him he's wrong.
Obviously, it's not written that great, and this sounds fucking worse. The pen that she gets given from fucking Grey, she is in a lesson and then somehow shoves it all down her throat. It's like, what are you doing?
Does she? What?
All right,
I totally missed that.
She doesn't
What?
shove it down.
Is this the pen from the interview?
Yeah, she pops it in her mouth.
I did not remember that bit. Or I did, and I just thought it was a pen. Christ. She's deep-throating a pen in class.
She doesn't shove it down her throat. She just puts it on her lip, man. Come on, you can't do over-exaggeration. Jesus.
He also, I wish we had the soundboard because I'd put in like a little ping every time or something there was a flag. But he asks her about the guy that she works with, ask her if he's her boyfriend.
Yep.
And he asks her about they set up a photo shoot with him, don't they? And he asks her about her photographer friend. And he's like, who's he and who is he? And is he your boyfriend? So that's another flag. Wasn't a fan of that.
Do you know what I found weird? There's very few pictures of him, and yet he seems to be around by himself all the time.
Didn't she Google pictures and there were just loads of pictures of him on the internet?
Just him by himself.
Yeah, but she was like, we need a picture of him. But then he's like fucking bowling about in hardware shops and coffee shops. Probably bookstores to get fucking first edition of Thomas Hardy books.
And nightclubs. Anyway, she goes to a nightclub and she drunk calls Christian because that's how she gets to... Yeah, yes, Benny.
I've written the only realistic thing about this so far is that she's in a really long queue for the women's toilets when she drunk dials him.
That's true.
I found it fucking amazing that she seemed absolutely fine, and the second the phone starts dialing, she's fucking hammered.
Yeah, that too is...
Acting.
Anyway, it might be, to be honest, I'm not going to name any names, but there have been people I've known who kind of like that, where the drunkenness or them being told they're drunk gets them, you know, to be themselves a little bit. And I think that's what that is, but it's done really badly in this either way.
I guess if she's suddenly feeling drunk enough to drop her inhibitions to call him.
Yes. I think that's
then she's probably like, oh, I must be really drunk. Ooh.
Oh, I'm really drunk here, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah, and a bit of an excuse to call him, like, oh, because I'm drunk.
Yeah, exactly.
But then he proceeds to tell her off for drinking.
Well, he tells her off, and then he goes, where are you, and then she doesn't, and then he calls her back, and then she's like, but I know where you are, apparently, straight away as well. He just knew from GPS tracking her phone. He knew where she was.
Yeah, that's fucking creepy, isn't it?
It's in the pen.
Yeah, she didn't have the pen at this point. She goes outside. Her friend, Jose, starts, he's a bit drunk, and he's kind of taking a shine to her. He's about to kiss her, and then gets rugby tackled by Christian, and she's totally okay with it.
Ping. Flag.
Her good friend, who's her brother, who she just mentioned, he's like a brother to me, gets rugby tackled by this guy she just fucking met earlier in the day, and she goes, yeah, that's fine.
But that's all right, because then she pukes on Christian's shoes.
Yeah.
He tells her off for drinking too much, which is another flag.
The supporting characters in this were awful.
Yeah, because Jose like never really appears again. I think they mentioned him like, Jose called you twice, and then that was it. You never see him again. That's
the end of his tragic story.
That was like everyone else. Kate never fucking turns up. Well, she turns up once.
Well, she turns up a little bit later, but yeah, to do fun things. He puts her to bed.
Flag. She is very clearly intoxicated and unable to get herself... Don't laugh at me. Is unable to get herself home. So being a gentleman, you would get the lady home safely.
Yes. Yeah.
Not take her to your fucking hotel, undress her and put her in your bed. That is another flag.
You sleep next to her as well.
He could sleep on the fucking couch. There was one. I checked.
Yeah.
He decided he will sleep next to her, undress her, and make her breakfast in the morning.
She asked if they had sex, and he said, necrophilia isn't my thing.
Great line.
Which is like... Oh, fucking what did he do? Kill her in the night and get a defib and revive her?
I mean, he does have those serial killers. He even said, like, is this for your serial killer exhibition or whatever? And he said, not today. It's like he's got those weird kind of vibes.
I like to think someone's remade the trailer into a horror movie type.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's definitely one out there, I would assume. He then proceeds to say, I won't touch you unless I have your written consent. 2 minutes later, they get into a lift and he forces himself on her.
He says, fuck the paperwork, and then kisses her. It's all fucking mind games. Like, she's in the bed in the hotel and she's like, oh, did we have sex? He's like, no, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, good, and whatever. And he says he got his driver to get her some clothes because hers were covered in puke. And he's being all nice. And then he just goes, if you were mine, you wouldn't be able to sit for a week. And then he walks off and has a shower. Like, all these fucking mind games are...
There's 4 quotes here that I've written down that made me uncomfortable, probably because of the way it was written. One of them, how are you feeling? She says, better than I deserve.
Yeah, that made me sad.
Felt a little bit too obvious. You're here because I'm incapable of leaving you alone. She says, then don't.
Creepy.
Obvious as well. I don't do romances. My tastes are very singular. Enlighten me then, she says. Probably one of the most famous quotes of that book, I would have thought. And the final one, I would like to bite that lip. And she says, I think I'd like that. It's just fucking terribly written.
I get for characters being very, not having self-confidence and not having, like, you know, he's obviously more confident. He's kind of like...
And he's older than her.
Yeah, it's the older man. He's rich and he's confident and she's not. She's complete opposite. I think we find out later she's a virgin as well. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that was a cliche as well. That
was also a major cliche. Fuck me. So I get that, but the way the film does it in this is like remind you every fucking minute that these two characters are very different. But we're going to plant the seed by going, "Who sexual innuendo?"
And he's going to manipulate her and change her.
And manipulate her, and she's worthless, and he's better, and like, oh fuck off! I hate it so much.
He gets the driver to pick her up for their date, which is just another way of controlling her.
Yeah, we'll get to the heli right in a minute. Andy, what would you say?
Do you remember the guy that Aardman Animation did who was made of butter and used to play the trombone?
Yes. Yes, I do.
I assume that she has the same genetic defects that he does and is also made of butter because every time he touches her, it's like he's got fucking matches on his hands and she just melts.
Please, for the love of God, put that in the artwork. No one will know what the fuck we're talking about if you put that. Just the butter man from the trigger. Oh God. Anyway, I'm losing myself here. She goes on a date.
Oh, hang on. Sorry. I'm really sorry. He says that you won't touch her without written consent.
Yeah, and then
apart from, you know, undressing her, redressing her, touching her face, eating toast out of her hand.
Yeah. He's already done all the fucking touching, and then he fucking forces himself on her in the lift.
Yeah.
Right after that, anyway.
Then they go back to her apartment, and Kate is banging his brother.
Yeah, that was weird and unnecessary.
It was weird and unnecessary.
Great supporting characters they were. They really developed them.
They just needed a different butt.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of butts in this, but it's mostly the two main characters, so I guess they needed another butt. Maybe he was like, I've got a really good butt too. I want it in the movie. You don't know.
It was at this point, of course, that we get to the helicopter bit. And the first thing I noticed was Ellie Goulding.
Oh, fuck. This whole bit was just like, I had to mute it. I was just like, fuck.
Yeah.
I can't. I was just like, I'm not very good with surprises. If a guy picked me up for a date and took me to a helipad, like helicopters make me sick. So I'd be like, sorry, mate, can't go.
We're going to Seattle. Where? It's like, why?
Also, another flag. He doesn't take her on a date. He takes her to his house.
He takes her to a sex dungeon, basically.
Yeah, he takes her to his house with his sex dungeon in it, and she can't. She didn't drive, so she can't get away. And he's like, "Oh, the helicopter will take you back whenever." But still, it's more.
But still, Ellie Goulding, love me like you do, yeah, happy, yay, we're all having a happy time. Yeah, Jesus.
I've just thought about this, right? So he flies that helicopter by himself, a corporate helicopter, which he probably wouldn't be allowed to do anyway. He was driven there by his driver. So now his driver's got to get back to Seattle by himself. But also, if he's driving to her place, can't be that fucking far.
They went to Seattle in the helicopter and he drove her back in the car. Who's got the fucking helicopter?
Yeah.
Logistics.
Because he's like skipping forward when his mum pops in. Awkward. He's like, oh, I've got to take her home. And they go home in the car. So...
Yeah. What happens if one of the other execs needs that helicopter? They've got to go and find some stupid fucking woman to manipulate.
He'll have his own helicopter, I reckon. There's a staff helicopter and then there's his helicopter.
One for the skivvies.
Well, because his probably smells like sex dungeon.
Oh, God. PVC.
So he takes her to said sex dungeon. I put in notes, she's really, really fucking dumb here. Because when he introduces her to said sex dungeon, she's like, What's this? What's the whip? What do you do? Where's this going? What do you do with that? I'm like, what do you think he does? Come on. Like, oh my God.
I've just written flogger, lol. Because she's looking around and he's like, that's called a flogger.
That's an 18th century character.
It's a Cat O' Tails, I'll have you know.
That's an original artwork.
This is where he mentions the non-disclosure agreement, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, out of all the contracty sort of things, this one made the most sense to me because he's famous,
yeah,
I guess, and he doesn't want women. So I was like, oh, but he's fucking. Then he's so dramatic about the playroom.
So that NDA, that is the bit where you dropped me a voice note the first time when she says, "Are you going to make love to me now?" So I got a 40-second voice note from Penn, literally in stitches.
Like.
And then 5 minutes later, she came back and said, "I've just hit play again." And he said, "I don't make love, I fuck hard."
And I lost it all over again.
And it was exactly the same thing.
And so the first bit, I lost it and I paused it and I was like, no, I need a break. And then I realised what time it was. I was like, no, I need to crack on. And yeah, I played that second bit and I lost it again. And I left my room and that's my mum was like, "Are you all right? Have you finished the film?"
But I had remembered that, so I knew exactly what was going to happen, and I deliberately didn't tell you.
Oh, are you going to make love to me now? Like, nobody talks like that.
The dialogue is, again, it's the worst. It's the worst the worst dialogue I've seen in a film, I think.
I've written better dialogue for this, and that says a lot.
You have.
I genuinely have.
He kind of explains to her a bit, because that is another problem with this, is he doesn't explain the relationship or what he wants from it enough. So no wonder she doesn't sign the contract, because he's not explaining to her. Like, he just says, "I want you to do this, 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 and this," basically.
But I don't want to stay in the same room as you.
Yeah, it's a prisoner. He keeps her as a prisoner.
Yeah, it's a hostage situation.
Hostage, yeah.
Like, it's a dominant, submissive relationship. You're supposed to talk to each other, but
Stockholm syndrome.
I was like, no wonder it freaks her out, because you've just taken her into this weird sex dungeon. And the way he kind of explained it, or she summed it up, and basically he says to her, like, "Well, you do what I say, or I'm going to punish you in this room." And she's like, "What do I get?" He's like, "You get me." And I was like, that's not how that works, and that's also really shit.
Imagine the arrogance to say that to someone as well.
I know.
Like, I don't know if he knows, but the lady that wrote it probably doesn't. But like, in a dominant submissive relationship, the submissive has all the power. She or he, or non-binary, they've got the safe word. They set the limits.
Yeah.
They can, like, and this is just a toxic relationship.
Yeah, it's held captive is what it is. It's like, I'm going to do this to you, and whether you like it or not, you can't have me, or else that's it.
He says it's the way I am, as if that's an excuse for him to be an insufferable prick.
Yeah, but I get that's how they're setting up his story arc. He's a guy who's troubled and he's got problems and all that kind of stuff.
Don't get me started on that. Not right now.
I know, but it's like he's got problems and he's got...
That's not fucking...
Yes! I'm not the angry one today.
I know, Penn. I'm just saying that's how they're setting the movie up, and it's just
I know. No, I'm not mad at you.
I could see where it was going. From the very first 30 minutes, I was like, I know where this is going straight away. I was just like, I knew it.
Thing is, it's less of a relationship. So if you were a guy or a woman or whatever, and if you were the submissive and you wanted to be treated this way and not have a relationship, you could go and see a dominatrix and pay for that service.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do it the other way round.
Yeah.
That doesn't really work. And it's like he's got all that money, but that's not how that works.
I mean, they made 3 films out of it, so here we go. So he ends up buying her gifts, a laptop,
Flag.
new car.
Because he's trying to... Oh, he buys her a laptop because he gives her the contract and he's like, "Email me." And she's like, "Oh, my computer doesn't work." So he only buys her a laptop so that she's got no excuse not to contact him, which is more manipulation.
Yep.
Agreed.
I've also written, it's got all that tape and rope that he bought at the hardware store and he uses a tie to tie her hands. Doesn't even use the tape. Sorry.
At this point in the film, it became rinse and repeat for me. There's a bit of dialogue. There's a bit of whatever, if you want to call it sex, I don't know what you call it, but either way, it's his version of it. And then more dialogue, meet parents, it's all it just kept going on and on and on. I was like, where? More Eddie Goulding, I think, was in the middle at some point or something.
Yeah.
There was another helicopter ride or something going on. I couldn't remember. It basically all leads to her realizing, which we all realized at the very fucking start, I'm sorry to say, Anastasia, but he's a bit of a prick.
No, you've missed some bits, right?
Oh man, we've missed a load of stuff that I want to talk about.
I'm just thinking of time, but go on.
No, we've got loads of time.
The whole bit will go back to him going, oh, I had a difficult upbringing, and...
It's just an excuse, it's just manipulation.
Yeah, and you cannot have had a shitty childhood and still be into this kink. It's not a fucking bad thing. And in big capital letters, I've written, stop saying normal people. Because they're like, oh, well, why can't we be like normal people? People that are into that are normal people. And I really hate the fucking stigma around it and sex workers, because I have friends that are sex workers, and it just made me fucking furious. It's like when they redid Nightmare on Elm Street, they made Freddy Krueger a paedophile just to make him scary. It's like, he didn't need to be a paedophile. He was not a paedophile in the first one.
Speaking of paedophiles, apparently Christian Grey was seduced by his mum's friend at the age of 15.
I had an ex-boyfriend that had that happen to him, and he wasn't into whips and chains as far as I know. So,
But movies are real.
And Freddy Krueger was a paedophile, apparently.
no, he wasn't. He was just a child murderer. He wasn't a pedo.
This is literally roles reverse of Andy getting angry. Is we've just swapped it around with Penny this episode.
It's so good, isn't it? It's so good.
It's great. I love it.
But he uses, like, she's like, why can't we be normal people? And he's like, well, I've never taken anyone in my helicopter. I've never had sex in my own bed. I've never slept next to anyone. Like, that is supposed to make her feel more important.
It's more control, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, she says how many people have slept in the room that he gives her, and he's like 15. And he's like, oh, but I've never done that with them. It's all more just fucking manipulation. Like, oh, but you're different.
I don't know whether to be angry at her or him.
Oh, it's a bit of both.
Him, because he's manipulating her.
Yeah, but...
She's fucking naive, though, isn't she?
Yeah, part of me is like, come on, girl. Seriously.
I mean, I'm more like, you should be mad at him because he's controlling. But then I remembered that she agrees to let him choose her birth control.
Yeah.
Are you fucking nuts?
Yeah,
It's in the contract. He's like, you have to let me pick your birth control and what method.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. If I don't want to get a coil, I'm not getting one. Ugh.
prescribed by the physician of the dom's choosing.
Yeah, who could fucking lie and change it?
Like, that's quite a big, important thing. And it's different for every woman.
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, and you have to eat healthy. It's like, could you imagine if you said that to me? I'd be like, jog on, mate. I'm still eating pizza. Stick your flogger.
The thing is, guys, I think this is what they wanted. They wanted this reaction out of you for this film. I think this is what they wanted. They want you to be like, Christian, why is she with her? Like, that's what they wanted. It's just the way they did it is like...
I don't think they did.
I don't think that's what they wanted. I think what they wanted was...
What they wanted you to like him.
No. What they wanted was to show that he was in control and had all the power. However, this is not the way to do it.
Yeah, that's what... It's executed terribly.
Yeah, a toxic way to do it. But I assume that comes from the book and the woman that wrote it knowing fuck all about, I'm going to say it, anything.
She went to a hardware store once and saw some ropes and went, 50 Shades of Grey.
That was terrible.
Just like... Again, it comes back to the false information. Like, if you're with someone and your partner suddenly is like, I want to try this, and they get rope from the hardware store, or they're like, oh yeah, okay, we'll draw up a contract like that, and I get to hit you with stuff, and you have to be naked on the floor, like kneeling whenever I tell you, and you have to have sex with me whenever I want, and like that's
controlling. It's just controlling.
Yeah, and you could get people being like, oh well, that's what he wants or that's what she wants, and I want to make my partner happy, and so that's what I'm going to do, and it's just dangerous misinformation.
We're getting slightly off track here because I know this is something you're passionate about, Ben. Let's go back to the plot. He breaks into her house.
He does.
Yep.
She sends him an email saying, yeah, fuck off, this is fucking weird. Or words to that effect, probably more PG.
Doesn't she say, nice to meet you, no thanks?
Yeah, nice knowing you. And he turns up in her room and says, nice knowing you, and then ties her to the bed, and they do a fuck.
He did use a condom though, so that was something.
Afterwards, she says, that was really nice.
It was really nice.
That was really nice.
You throwing me about and breaking in and forcing me. That was really nice.
Oh, that was well good.
That was absolutely fine.
Oh, I was craving that.
Christ.
Fucking hell, this film.
That was nice. Someone use synonyms.com. Get another fucking word for nice. There's loads. I can't think of any because I'm a photographer, not a writer. But Andy, there's loads.
There's fucking loads, yeah.
Yeah, see. Andy knows.
This is coming from someone who has said fuck about 4 times in the last 12 seconds. However, there's lots. Do we want to talk about the contract? Because we've all got some fuck. I mean, obviously the physician and the birth control is weird. The rules where they strike out what they will and won't do is odd.
Oh, wait, hang on. Why is their meeting room... It's at his office,
Yeah.
right? Why are the light bulbs red?
Mood lighting.
Like, if he has business meetings in there, why is the lighting all red?
I've been to a lot of offices. I've never seen red lights. Certainly not in the offices.
It's usually just white and beige.
Yeah. A little bit of blue splashed about, depending where you are.
That really upset me. And I was like, can they even read the contracts in there? It's so dark.
Yeah, it was really weirdly lit. I know. They're trying to go for that art style, like make this epic scene.
But that's why the lights are red, because people will be like, oh, red lights. Oh, that must be sexy because they do it in Amsterdam. You're like, yeah, sure, that's why.
Yeah, picking women out of windows is well sexy.
So on this contract, right, they've got a list of things that they will or won't do, and they strike out a load. One that I want to mention, and I want to get to this before Penny does, is they cross out vaginal fisting.
Anal fisting first, he's put them both as soft limits.
Yeah.
The soft limit is like, oh, I'm willing to maybe think about trying that, as opposed to a hard limit. And he's like, anal fisting. And she's like, no, that is definitely a hard limit.
Yeah, I mean, the only person you would want up your bum is Jim Henson, right?
You're such a dick, Andy.
I've waited 2 weeks for that. 2 weeks.
I knew you planned that joke. You were waiting to build it up, weren't you? I knew it.
I knew he was too, because he told me.
Oh, right, okay.
Why were we actually talking about fisting the other day? Because we were. I mean, not together.
We were talking about the Muppets or something.
That was in episode 3, guys.
Or were we talking... No, we weren't talking about this.
No, something about fisting came up, and I said I wouldn't even let the most experienced Muppeteer fist me, let alone anyone else. And that's why it was funny, and you ruined it. But I don't remember why we were talking about
It's
fisting.
fine. In my notes, I've got you don't jump straight to it like you're putting on a boxing glove, so... But the reason I'm bringing this up is because... so on the list of things that are soft limits... You've got fellatio first, and then you've got vaginal fisting, which is that's not
Yeah.
That's a fucking big incline, isn't it?
No, he's tried to sneak them in there. Pun intended. He's tried to sneak that in there as a soft limit.
The cheeky bastard. God.
Because he also doesn't. One of the things she takes out is he says one of the things is you'll participate in any sex act that I deem like appropriate at the time, and she's like, yeah, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Which is because like the contract thing is a weird but a good idea so that both of them know what's going on.
Yeah.
But if someone said to you like, well, you're going to consent to any sex act I feel like, but I'm not going to tell you what they might be, you're going to be like, no?
Get the fuck out. Yeah.
They nearly got the right bit to do in this film with that contract. They nearly got it, and then they immediately go, well, I'm going to do stuff and you won't know about it. It's like...
Yeah, I'm like, no wonder she doesn't want to sign it.
The fucking film.
No genital clamps, though. That's good.
That's a plus. Yeah.
She also asks what butt plugs are.
What's a how old is she? Hang on.
It's clearly in the name.
21 years old.
Exactly.
Right. I'm sorry, but if you're 21 years old going to university, you surely know what.
No, because she's a tiny.
But she's
like,
what's a whip?
Little English literature. She just reads Emily Bronte, and she.
Butt plug. Where does that butt plug go? Oh.
Flogger. Low.
Does it go in the sink? Oh. Like, it's just fucking...
What the fuck is going on? I never thought butt plug would be such a trigger for you both.
This whole film is a trigger.
This film has ruined us. It has absolutely ruined us.
Do we need to do a poll, like on Twitter or something? Be like, how many of our followers know what a butt plug is? Because maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's just us.
Do you know what annoyed me after this?
Yes.
She gets rid of her car.
No. That was it. He gives her a new car, and he sells her old car without asking her. And then later on, when they kind of split up, she's like, I want to go home. Where's my car? And he's like, oh, I've sold it.
Yeah.
Fucking sells 2 of her cars. Like, without, again...
Oh, he sells the other car as well.
He sells the other car as well.
What a prick. What a prick.
He did say he'll send her the check. So he...
Yeah, because she was like, I want the money then, because you've sold the car. Because obviously he sold her first car. And he's like, yeah, I'll send you a check.
Yeah.
But she's literally like, I want to go home. Where's my car? And he's like, fucking...
I wish when he said she had sold her car, I wish she'd been like, oh, what happened to my Spice Girls CD that was in the player?
What happened to the Muppets Greatest Hits? It was in my fucking car. Yeah, okay, let's get towards the end, guys, because I mean...
We are towards the end. I've only got one more page.
Yeah, so all this happens and she slowly starts to kind of realise that, why is he doing all this stuff to me?
He gets mad that she doesn't tell him she's visiting her mum, which
Yeah.
again is another flag.
Yeah.
And then he fucking turns up uninvited anyway.
That's fucking weird. He picked her up and walked off like a caveman at one point. Literally threw him over her shoulder. Yeah.
Throughout the whole film, he's keeping his emotions, distant from her. He still doesn't obviously want to sleep with her or anything like that. But
they're not on the same page at all, are they? 'Cause she wants a relationship and he doesn't.
Yeah, they're just completely two different people.
And neither of them have discussed that with each other, although she keeps bringing it up. Like, they are not on the same page.
But it gets to the point where it's like, now she tells him, I need to see you doing your worst so I can understand what kind of person you are.
Also, she's like, why do you want to do this shit? And he's like, because 50 Shades of fucked up. Fuck off. Fuck off.
50 Shades of fucked up. I forgot about that.
Fuck off.
Do you know who else was fucking extravagant billionaire and was 50 Shades of fucked up? Bruce fucking Wayne. He could have become Batman. Instead he becomes some fucking weird rope fiend.
Maybe that's the sequel. We don't know.
It's not weird. I'm not having this
No,
podcast.
I'm not saying Shabari's weird. I'm saying he is weird.
He is weird. But yeah.
There's no kink shaming. I've got no issue with any of it. I'm saying he is fucking weird.
Andy knows how much I hate kink shaming.
Let's end this before we kill each other. So
Or ourselves.
she says, show me your worst so I can understand how you truly feel or are, or I don't know.
But all he had to do was explain it to her.
Yeah.
Again, it's because he hasn't told her anything.
No,
She's like, oh, well, how bad can it be? Because she doesn't know.
She's still a bit dumb in this. I gotta be honest. She's really a bit...
But that's why she can't sign the contract.
If she'd signed the contract, it wouldn't have happened.
Look, she shouldn't have gone to do that fucking interview in the first place, alright? She should have just stayed at home.
Fucking Kate, this is all Kate's fault.
Her mate was absolutely fine.
It's fucking Kate's fault. This whole film, Kate was fucking well enough. She seemingly was ill. Oh, I can't do the interview. Can you do it? You've never been interviewed anyone else. You're a shy girl. Why don't you go do it?
Go and ask this billionaire if he's gay.
Yeah, go ask this billionaire if he's gay or stuff like that. So she goes, show me your worst. He whips the shit out of her. She immediately cries and goes, no, fuck you. I'm going now. She leaves him.
I've just thought of this because she clearly wasn't enjoying it. He hits her and it hurts. And she's not enjoying it.
Yeah.
But she didn't use the safe word.
Nope.
No.
She just waited a bit.
But I suppose it wouldn't have been, if he'd hit her once and she went, ow, red, it probably wouldn't have been as impactful.
Banana! My favourite bit in this is I put, like some sort of a dog, when she leaves, she goes to the elevator and he runs to the elevator and she goes, no, stop it. Stop it. Like a dog.
Bad Christian.
Bad Christian.
No.
Bad Anastasia. Christian. Close doors.
Oh, fuck off with that ending. I'm Andy Joyce in this. Like, fuck, I literally sent Andy a voice message that said, fuck off with that hatchet ending.
That was a hatchet ending. It just sets up the next two.
Because I'm not watching the other two. I'm not doing it.
Look, I will say, if the audience show enough support online, we may watch the second one, but only if there's enough, because to put us through this fucking film, you have just witnessed the kind of fucking rage.
I'm sweating, guys.
Penny is normally very nice, very quiet, and she has been sweating and raging, and me and Andy just been sat here.
I'm really mean to you guys.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. It's okay. We understand. We got it all out of our system now. It's all good.
I'm starting to feel a little bit better.
Good.
Some of the weight has gone.
Good. Fantastic.
It's like I've had a nice poo. It's all good.
That's in the cut.
Oh,
No.
no kink shaming is fine.
Okay.
Everybody poops, Andy.
Like that REM song. Anyway,
Do you know what this felt like to me? It felt like a poor man's secretary.
I didn't even like Secretary.
Yeah, but it was more interesting and it was more
Yeah, it was, definitely. Yeah.
on the level than this was.
Yeah.
And having read the plot of this next 2 films,
I don't want to.
well, I can tell you what happens in them.
No, not now, please. No.
No. But that's also what annoyed me, is that she's like, no. And you're like, well, she doesn't mean it because there's 2 more movies.
The reason I think they did that is because now she finally has like confidence to tell them no.
Well, it doesn't last. Well, maybe she does. He obviously convinces her and she gets into it in the second one, I suppose.
Well, yeah, it didn't last long. Right. Scores on the doors, guys. I can't wait for this. Andy, can I have your score? This could be the lowest score we ever give.
Yeah, my final line here says, honestly, fuck this film. And in alliance with that, I'm going to give it a 2.
Oh, it's a 2. Penny, I kind of know what yours is. You can give it a 0 if you want, if you really feel like it.
I might. It can have a 1 purely for the fact that it's a flogger. Made me laugh.
Yeah, I saw some tail plugs, so it got a bonus point for me.
I'm going to give it a 2. It was a high-budget soft porn film gone wrong.
No, it wasn't even that. There wasn't enough.
I know. It wasn't even porn. I know what I mean. But it was just like dribble. It was just dribble. That's all I can say.
I will say this, right? The dialogue was better in some soft porn than it was in this film.
Yes, I agree.
Fucking dreadful. All it was missing was 70s jazz in the background.
Yeah.
Instead it had Ellie fucking Goulding.
Ellie fucking Goulding.
I don't know why I'm starting to get angry about it now instead of like half an hour ago.
We never have to talk about it again. It's fine. We're calm. Zen. Look, I can teach you guys to meditate. It's fine. Come on. Zen. Breathe in and breathe out.
Are you gonna make love to me now?
I don't make love. I fuck.
All right. The next film.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, I forgot.
God, I hope it's something good.
In Film Out of a Hat, we pick a randomly generated film that we put into a hat and we watch it next week, just like we did with 50 Shades. Thank God we never have to watch
Sweating again.
50 Shades. The next film out of our hat for next week on the podcast is, I think this is Penny's Idle Hands.
Yeah!
Oh God, she's cheered up.
Oh no.
Fucking love this movie.
That worries me.
Oh no.
It's a good movie.
Okay.
It's a good movie.
A teenage slacker finds his parents turned into headless Halloween decorations and realizes his right hand has a bloodthirsty mind of its own that wreaks havoc.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Idle Hands. We will be watching it on the next podcast.
This is the perfect 90s silly horror movie.
I'm sure I've seen a spoof of this in The Simpsons.
Yes. Yeah. I think that's what it was.
Might have been with Snake's hair.
Yes.
I didn't pick all horror movies though. It's just the hat is picking all the horror movies.
Blame the hat.
Yeah.
I blame the hat for 50 Shades.
Yes. Oh, well, no, I feel better because now I'm like, I know I'm not going to have to do this all over again next week. Like I'm in my comfort zone.
We're back to normal, guys. We're like normal people now.
I'm not. I'm genuinely starting to tense up. Like, I am tensing now.
Nobody can see the stink eye. I just
forgot we're not on video. Normal people. We're all normal. Penny, what's the social?
Follow us on Instagram at Unusual Suspects Pod and on Twitter at Unusual Podspect. We now know that we are on Anchor and Spotify and what's the other one?
Apple.
And Apple Podcasts. And there's a couple of random ones that I can't remember.
And Overcast.
Overcast.
Breaker.
Yeah.
Radio Public.
Sure.
RSS.
Go to Instagram or Twitter and then it will tell you where you can find us and listen. Well, you've already listened to the absolute shambles that was this already, so please come back. It'll be better.
It will be better next week, we promise.
I'll be okay. I'm sorry I was mean to everyone.
To be honest, I can see a lot of people saying episode 7, classic.
Episode 7 was a real emotional journey for at least one of you.
I'm going to be like, oh, that's when Penn's mental breakdown started.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, marking this day on the calendar just in case.
Just in case she has another one.
What's a calendar? I haven't used one of those in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, some of us are still working.
Oh, right, sorry. Sorry, my industry's closed. So, on that note, support your local venues, support your music industry, support sex workers, support your friends.
Support the sushi business.
Support us.
Watch Paddock.
Don't watch Paddock. Be nice to each other.
Be nice to each other, yes.
Don't be like me.
If you would like to find us, if you want maybe regular Twitter beefs, you can follow the Unusual Suspects one. But if you want to follow our personal ones, mine is at Dan Talks a Lot.
Mine is at Penny_photopics. Joyce is 21.
Yeah.
Choice is 21.
I'll be honest, I was reluctant to give it out.
Why?
I just can't be bothered anymore.
We're only on episode 7 and you've given up.
We've gone back to normal, guys.
No, I'm just in a bit of a, like, I'm starting to get too hot because I've been thinking about 50 Shades of Grey, and I don't mean in a positive way. Like I'm gonna have to give myself a cold shower.
Mr. Grey.
Not hot in a good way.
No, like I'm gonna set the world on fire because I'm fucking burning this place to the ground. Anyway, you can find me at Choices21.
And just, to mention earlier that if you want to see little video clips and stuff of the podcast, go follow the Instagram. We put about 2, possibly 3 every week of ones that have come out. So follow us on Instagram for more stuff like that, and tell your friends, tell your family, tell your doms and your subs.
No, you can't tell the dom. The dom has to tell you.
Oh yeah,
that's how that works.
Tell your workshop, your tool store workers.
Tool store workers.
I'm moving on. I'm running out of ideas. I'm sick. Leave me alone.
Tell all your middle-aged ladies that we shit all over the film they possibly liked.
Exactly.
Yeah, honestly.
Oh man, imagine we got Twitter beef from middle-aged ladies. Oh man.
Do you know what? If we do, I'm going to tell them all to use fucking gaffer tape. That'll shut them up.
Thank you very much for listening to episode 7. See you next time.
Seriously, fuck that film. Bye everyone.